First of all, hello, I'm Teresa, and I'm here to present my work about food, clubs, and pubs. The English culture has always played an important role in the history of the world, from the time of the formation of the Roman Empire to the events present today, where its revolutions and wars have always become a landmark for society, always aiming its independence from other countries that eventually changed the way society sees English culture. One of these prominent events was when the English nation achieved the status of cradle of the Industrial Revolution, a revolution that changed the country's economy and the way of business. With this milestone, Britain became the world's greatest power at the time. But because of the outbreaks of the First and Second World War, the country suffered a major blow and its economy suffered a major fall. But this was not an impediment for Britain to rise and remain one of the greatest powers in the world to date. One of the reasons is the fact that English culture has always been a cause for curiosity, is the historical facts and that have happened in its past, such as the existence, monarchy, and lifestyle. English culture is found in various areas of Western culture. Its language is practiced in all corners of the world, its presence in movies and music, its passion for football, and its cuisine and traditions. Over time, English culture developed quite consistently. However, it suffered an influence by all immigrants who came to live on its territory. Even though England is considered one of the largest capitals in the world and much visited by tourism, the English are not known to be a welcoming and friendly people. In the day-to-day, the English follow many rules and prioritize respect. Their culture is known for being very courteous and even considered cold most of the time. Even being a country where various cultures coexist, their customs and traditions remain unchanged as their cuisine, their exclusive pubs, and the various pubs. Concerning food, with the fact that the culture of English is seen in a more closed way and without many changes, its cuisine is also considered quite traditional, with the products very elaborate based on sausage, potatoes, and ham. But the simplicity of the food draws a lot of attentions, and the stories behind the creation of each dish is also quite interesting. With England has always been involved in major events in our story, its cuisine, in a certain way, has always been present. As in the World War I and World War II, the supply of food was quite compromised, and with these many recipes needed to be adapted to feed the population. Therefore, they had to create new recipes with foods that were not being rationed, such as fish and potatoes, ingredients that are still inserted in the English cuisine today. One of the customs known worldwide of the English culture is the famous tea of five, a custom that was present by the Portuguese princess Catarina de Bragança, considering that in Portugal this custom was already quite popular, but was only when conquering the nobility 18 years later, when the Duchess of Bedford decided to start making small snacks with tea and some sandwiches and biscuits during the afternoon, have invited to socialize someone. And with its very strong influence within society at the time, ended up creating a fashion that during the years became a symbol of English culture. Currently, the tradition of tea has had some changes, such as it's not exclusive to monarchs and aristocrats, and can also be made at other times of the day, of course. Another well-known dish of English cuisine is fish and chips, a dish that emerged in the 19th century and became quite popular during the Industrial Revolution and among the working class, because it is quite simple and economical. Some of the facts for the dish to be considered cheap and easily accessible was the great development that the fishing market and ports have. And with this, it was possible to make the fishing of various types of fish and manage to make faster transport so that the fish could be transported faster. At the time it was created, it was wrapped in an old piece of newspaper, but in the 1980, the food passed to be wrapped in a paper made for the sake of hygiene. Uh, Today, served more takeaway, but never losing its simple style. However, who really visits Britain today find that cooking has gone through big changes throughout the most recent 20 years. The individuals who feast out are currently conferred with a different buffet of customary, cosmopolitan, privately sourced, and solid dishes. The contemporary Britain empowers guests to appreciate foods from one side of the planet to the other, including Chinese, Indian, French, Turkish, Italian, Japanese, American, Mexican, mirroring the blend that is currently the United Kingdom. The clubs. A gentleman's club is a private social club which contains a conventional lounge area, a library, a bar, a pool room, and other spaces. To put it plainly, it is where men could leave the ordinary pressure in their lives. On most events, the individuals in an honorable men's club do not give meetings or show the spaces in the club that is almost their own. As such, the protection of the individuals is very important for these clubs. At the point when a person is acknowledged into the club, that is, enters in the club, it is known as this action. It is known as a political decision. All elite noblemen's club in London use a technique for deciding in favor of proposed new individuals in secret by every political decision panel part. The first clubs were set up in the West End of London, and most of the clubs assumed control over certain pieces of the job involved by cafes in the 18th century London. Whites, Brooks, and Boodles were among the primary respectable men's clubs on the planet and gave a climate to betting, which was illicit in other places. The criminal operations which went on these selective clubs for London's rich people, including betting and prostitution, were to a great extent disregarded by the Metropolitan Police Service, making a quality of secret and embarrassment among the club members. The Englishmen of the time were regularly compelled to marry ladies of a similar upper social and financial class. There have been situations where the couple initially met on their big day, the wedding day. Nowadays, these exclusive clubs have not totally vanished, despite much of the time. There could be not, at this point, there are not any limitations on sex or financial status, but they they create some rules that includes increasing the prices of membership for people to not enter to the club. According to the oldest club in England, White's, it's the most seasonally respectable men's club in London. It was established in the 17th century, and it is broadly viewed as the best exclusive hangout on the world. White's began as a conventional English cafe where clients met and examined business and current issues. The observable distinction from exemplary bars was that they did not serve liquor at the cafe. So clients who might want to remain calm and examine some business would go to the White's. As the years passed, White's standing spread, and it turned out to be progressively hard to be part of it. It had become so popular that his clients were only elite. Nowadays, Prince William is a member of this club because it holds its old style. Now, concerning the pubs, pubs have always been considering more than leisure spaces. It is part of the culture of the English and how they socialize or express themselves. The term pub comes from the word public house, and as it is explained, the pubs are not just bars. On some occasions can be the community center or meeting place. In small towns in the United Kingdom, pubs are community meeting places to discuss some problems and have serious conversations. They were initially called taverns and appeared during the invasion of the Romans in England and were intended to provide a place where travelers had a good rest and entertainment. Wine was the most served drink at the time, but with the departure of the Roman Empire and the arrival of other peoples with the Vikings, beer becomes the main drink and making the name of the establishment come to be called ale houses. But it was in the reign of Queen Victoria that pubs consolidated and lived their most prosperous era and have resisted to the modernization of the new times. The importance of pubs in the English culture is very strong because it is not only considered a bar or a place to drink, but a place where locals and tourists can know in a simple and welcoming way the English culture. The tradition that was created between the locals and the pubs is impressive. Does not fit only in the decor or beer, but rather in the stories told by regular customers or famous customers who attended the pubs but it is impossible not to mention the social life of the English without mentioning the pubs. One of the oldest pubs and frequented to the date is the Old Sherry's Cheese, which is in the image of the PowerPoint. It was built in the 17th century, but legend has it that in the same place there was a pub since the year 16th century, where it was destroyed by a fire. The following year, the Ye Old was built, was frequented by several important literary figures, such as Charles Dickens, who was a regular, or even the monarchy as Princess Margaret. But what he calls more attention is how the pub remains in the market, even with the passing of so many years. Stroll down any British high road and you make certain to see a pub. Practically every British city, town has one. You can likewise be certain that regardless of the age of the structure, the name of the bar draws motivation from history. There is an extraordinary legacy to the bar's names and signs in Britain, which portray everything from memorable occasions, nearby legends, and occupations to sovereignty, remarkable characters, old affiliations, and other histories. A basic bar sign can hold the way into a town or town's past. As we can see, the English are extremely connected and proud of their culture, even in a society where social norms and more rigid are more rigid, and they are considered cold when talking about culture and tradition. But they are passionate and take very seriously customs that have been in their history since the past centuries, which have managed to adapt to the changes that the world has undergone and remained quite strong in today's society. There is no denying the importance of English culture to the world, its presence in arts, film, and music. Globalization brought a new concept to English society. New cultures became part of the development and brought new ways of adapting cultures. The English society and culture have always been reasons for curiosity and charm. Their way of life to this day generates a certain fascination, and its adaptation to the changes of the times make the English always manage to stay within the powers of the world economy, while still maintaining some traditions and even the existence of the monarchy. The English have found new means to keep up with the changes. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.